That's all I got to say about that. I really like it. Likeable.
What do we have here? Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cesar Placentio with the Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs. I will be providing a small session on the life cycle of a claim and the VA forms we see between. After my presentation, Ms. Annie DeAndrea will be providing.
I'm going to be giving a little piece on how the claims processing is different for Guard and Reserve. So we're going to focus in on them in particular. And I am the Transition Assistance Advisor. I'm assigned to a contractor assigned to the Washington National Guard.
So my presentation is pretty straightforward. If you guys have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate to ask. And go from there. In the meantime, really quick, I want to bring something up. I noticed a lot of you guys are taking photos of the screen. If you look on the very back of your actual pamphlet, the things that you guys got, if you look on the back, there's a website, and it has all our presentations on there. So you guys don't have to sit there taking photos the entire time and get bad developments. Just go on the website and you guys be good to go.
Probably would help to have mentioned this morning. Somebody buying it for the ground.
Some people are still showing up.
Nice.
All right, so life cycle of VA claim. The VA forms we see in the How many of you are veterans? How many of you have a service-connected disability? Who's considering thinking of submitting for a all right, good. So the objectives that we are going to be seeing is the standard VA forms and what they mean. This is just a generic overview of the VA forms that you will be seeing regarding veterans. Of course, there's numerous other ones that are out there, but these are the primary ones. Actually, they're called the standard VA forms. It's kind of like the IRS. General overview of the VA claims process. General overview of the VA appeals process. And any questions at the end? All right, standard VA forms. The very first one we have here is the 210966. It's an intention file. What this actually does is it is a save the date. For example, today is July 26th. If I want to file a claim, but I don't have all my evidence, I don't have my proper documentation, I haven't set an appointment, I don't have a diagnosis for the issue that I want to submit for, I can submit it 0966. What that does is allow me 1 whole year to July 26, 2018 to file the following 3 forms. 21-526EZ for compensation, 21P-527EZ for pension, and then 21P-534EZ for survivor benefits. The ones with the P at the end are very important. I'll explain a little bit more. So if I want to file a claim or a pension, I can save the date, I can gather all the documentations that I have, I can go ahead and submit one of those forms. The 526 for compensation, for the pension, or for the survivor's benefits. It has to be known that the intent to file is a one-time use only. So if I have 5 issues that I want to submit for, however, 6 months from now I have all the evidence for 3, I want to wait for the 2. I go ahead and submit my 526EZ, that intent to file is now gone. The other 2 will not count. It has to, another 0966 must be submitted. But that's all.
Can I butt in
Go
for a
ahead.
second too? So just so you know, if anybody is in the benefits fan like I am, all you have to do is go to the Apply tab and start the application process, and it immediately initiates the 0966. Okay, so you do not have to have a paper form, you can just go start the process of your benefits. And you do not have to finish it there in order to do it. If you decide to do a paper claim later, you still can, they'll still honor the date.
So to confirm, you haven't signed away or lost your right to file for things. You just have to file again with a new cover sheet.
With a new standard form.
New
Yes.
form, okay. You don't get it all the first time.
But the intent to file is just a one piece of paper. It's basically the name, social security number, mail-in address, which you want to file for. And all it does is let the VA know that I am starting my claim. It's an informal process. 526, 527, 534 are the formal process.
I
You save the date.
So if you want to.
Oh, okay, so basically, so what's, Michael, thank you for asking that actually. So what that means is that, so if I file a claim for compensation today for, say, tendonitis, and in 18 months my claim gets granted, I get retroactive all the way back to today. Basically it would be July 1st. So that $133.27 that I would get for my 10% tinnitus will date back 18 months. What the intent to file does is save the date for today. So when you file your 526, 527, and 534 later on down the line, it goes back to today. Thank you. Sorry, I gotta change my mindset to the audience. So the other two forms that you'll also be seeing is the VA Form 9 to begin the appeals process, and the 0958, Notice of Disagreement. And we'll go into more depth on one of those once we get the opportunity. Also, you can find these forms if you go into Google, type in VA Forms. Once you're in there, scroll down to VA Form Number, type in one of those forms, and it'll pull up in the PDF file. All right, life cycle of the claim. So, you have a dashing young Marine, served 5 years in the Marine Corps. He decides to get out. And while he was in training, he had to do a training course twice, and he froze about 2.5 miles. And during this time, he ended up carrying another Marine, and he tore all the ligaments in his left knee. Knee still works pretty well, but still has slight pain going on. He went to the corpsman, got it looked at, still continuing with his duties. Individual gets out. He's still within his year process, and he bumps into a friend and says, hey, you should file for VA claims. So he goes ahead and does that. Submits documentation, which begins the VA process. So the individual files a 526 easy, submits to the VA. The VA receives it. And once they received it, it goes under a review. What that initially means is that the VA has a process called the 1153, I'm not going to say the actual code, but it's called the duty to assist. The VA has an obligation to gather all the documentation in government possessions. That could be their archives through service treatment records, military records. If you get your medical treatment at the VA hospital, say at American Lake, or Puget Sound Medical, or Spokane, they have an obligation to get those documents for you. Now, a lot of individuals will say, I don't have my DD-214. Can I send in my VA claim? Yes, because the VA has a duty to assist. They have to pull your documentation, which includes your DD-214. In this process as well, the VA is going to send you a letter, or the veteran a letter, asking for any additional documentation that you may have. Because sometimes individuals take home the records. They take home their personal medical records or their service and treatment records, and the VA does not have that. Now, you'll want to know if you have any of this information or any private information that they can't get a hold of, please submit that for them. Once that's done, the VA is going to go through a gathering of evidence. What this usually entails is that they're going to be processing your CMP exam, comp and pension exam. So the individual that filed a claim for their left knee, they're going to get a CMP exam. The VA is going to contract out to a provider, usually you will hear QTC, and they're going to go do a medical appointment. And based on the diagnosis that they received, they're going to get checked out and waited for the, I guess it's called a nexus. I don't want to get too much into that because we can keep going. So once the CMP exam is received and once your medical evidence is received and your DD-214 is reviewed, they do a review of evidence. Do all the dots connect? Does it create a nexus? I'll go, if you guys have any questions about that, please ask me afterwards because I can go on for hours about the nexus. So, let's see. Once the evidence is reviewed, they're going to go to a preparation for decision. And it sounds exactly what it is. What it basically entails is that the individual is going to create a narrative. It's called a claim narrative. And they're going to document all the reasons why the claim is granted or denied. What that does, it gets sent to the senior VSR, who's above the individual that rates it, and it gets reviewed. Once that gets reviewed, It's a yea or nay if it's going to get pushed through, which goes under pending decision approval. And once that is complete, the preparation for notification is created, which is a notification that many of you have probably received. Date stamped, granted, denied, your disability claim. You guys have any questions? Am I going too fast? Can I slow down? Yes, ma'am.
So in that evidence gathering, you have a lot of veterans that have been told their files burned with fire, something of that nature. What?
So if the individual says that their records were burned in fire, there are actually specific dates that you want to look at. You can go online and look up for VA files lost in the fire. And there are very specific dates. If that individual falls within those categories, unfortunately, they're going to have to gather all of the evidence that they can to help rebuild their file. Statements, photos, if they have their discharge papers, if they have any awards or medals that prove that. Unfortunately, because there's no evidence there, there's nothing to go on. Yes, sir.
So if those veterans that are affected by that fire, if they don't have their DD-214 or anything, is there any proof of them being a veteran anywhere?
If you can find any evidence that shows that. then
But if
yes.
they can't, are they just SOL at this point?
Yeah.
What are the dates for that? Do you know?
I don't have it on hand, but I can find it for you.
1974, even previous to 74 was Army with a few Air Force.
Yeah.
But Army was primary, was the ones that had the majority of records lost.
Yes, ma'am.
I've had a few veterans that lost their records were lost in fire, and they just got a letter that said, we don't have this information available, but here's a letter that states that you were in the military service and whatever service.
A lot of times they'll have that. But what they're looking for is the medical evidence that shows that they were here or they had some kind of disability. Getting them proof as a veteran isn't as difficult as proving a medical diagnosis that they broke their ankle while they were in training back in the time frame. Those are more difficult to prove. Yes, ma'am.
With the lost medical records, would a nexus letter take place of that?
If you can get a statement from people that knew that individual from back in the day,
Or doctor?
the doctors that can prove a timeline, which is actually called continuity and chronicity, if you can establish that timeline, that will weigh very heavily for the favor of the veteran. All right, so your claim was complete. Got sent to you, it's done. Time goes by, you take a look, guess what? I don't agree with my decision. I think the VA did a bad job. What are your steps? By law, you have up to 1 year from the date of claim, not dated claim, from the date of notification to submit an 0958 notice of disagreement. What it basically does is that you're telling the VA that I disagree with your decision and I either want it increased, granted, a certain rating, you put the date of notification letter there, and you send it out to the VA. That's going to cause a process. Because at this time, it's still in the VBA category, the Veterans of Benefits Administration. And we'll talk about the Veterans Board of Appeals once we get to that point. But right now, it's still in VBA. When you do that, it's going to create a statement of the case. A statement of the case is the VA's response to you if there was no mistake found and the claim is still denied. A statement of the case basically informs you all the laws that pertain to the reasons why you were not granted those benefits. Now say that I still disagree with the decision. You file a formal claim, VA Form 9, to continue the VA process. Now if you have new material evidence to submit with that, they're going to write you a supplemental statement of the case. What this does is a more in-depth explanation on why they denied your claim. Now, it has to be known that if you decide to file a VA Form 9 after that, and you submit new and material evidence, I'll explain that in a second, it'll repeat the process with the statement of the case. And this will continue, and continue, and continue, until finally it gets moved off to the Board of Veterans Appeals. Now, new and material evidence is evidence that is new and material to the case. What that means is that after the VA made their decision, you went out to a doctor and got a whole new examination, something that the VA does not have, and you submit that as new and material evidence. Now remember that because it's important for the very end of this presentation. So when you file a VA Form 9, you're given 3 options: a travel board, teleconference, or a non-reimbursable trip to Washington, D.C. Ideally, people want to do the travel board. Sounds great. I get to sit in front of a judge, I can argue my case, I have a service representative in front of me, 5 years down the road. Your best bet is going to do a teleconference. Teleconference is going to allow me to be in, say, Okanagan County, Okanagan. I can go to a library, I can sit down in a private area, do a teleconference with the judge in Washington, D.C., and with my service provider in the same room. And it's a lot faster, it's easier to do it that way. Because the traveling board is a set of judges that travel throughout the United States. There's only a finite number of them. And when you're handling hundreds and thousands and 10,000s of appeals, it's going to take a while for you to get to that point. So sometimes the quickest way is to do the teleconference. Another option you have is called the de novo review. It's something that you don't really hear very often. De novo review literally means new eyes. So if you get a decision that's denied, and you do on your VA Form 9, you write in de novo review, what that does, doesn't go back to the person that originally denied the claim. It goes to a brand new person to review it with brand new eyes. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We're going to make mistakes, we're going to miss certain things. And believe it or not, the VA is human too. And a lot of people don't believe that. Yes, sir.
Whoever's looking over that claim again, do they know it's a de novo review?
You're gonna state it in it. Excuse me. You'll put it into the file, like a 4138 or another VA Form 9 that you wanted to know review. It gets put back into the VA system under a specific end product code. Therefore, it gets transferred to a brand new person, and it gets reviewed by a brand new person.
Does that brand new person know it's a de novo review?
Oh yeah. There's codes. Like for example, excuse me. Nice. If I file a claim for under seven issues, it's a EP 110. If I go over 8 issues, it's a 010. If I have a dependency, or if I need like a reconsideration, it's under 290. Pensions 180, death pensions 190, etc. They have a bunch of EP codes. It gets set under a certain EP code, so it gets recognized. If required, possible remand of your claim will take place. What that basically means is that the claim goes to the Board of Veterans' Appeals, which is its own jurisdiction. It's outside the law of the VBA. A remand says, the judge says, I see that there's a possibility for further review. I'm going to send this back to VBA. We're going to redo C&P exams with a whole set of new doctors, and we're going to take a look at this again. Outstanding. Guess what? You just put another 18, 24 months on your claim. Yeah. Once everything's said and done, and the judge gives it to go, it gets finalized. It literally gets finalized. You get this huge stack of papers that explains all the laws, all the exact process, and at the very end, it says, decision final. You're done. There are other processes that you can go, one second, sir, that you can do, but usually when the BVA says it's final, it's pretty much done. Yes, sir.
Reconsiderations.
Get into that.
Okay.
So, Caesar.
Yes, sir.
Is there data out there to show, of those that then go on back to an appeal, how many appeals do you?
They do have the numbers for it.
Is that public?
It's public information. I don't like saying it because it gets people mad. Approximately 25% of veterans whose appeal reach the board request a formal hearing before a VA law judge to discuss their appeal. All right, here is a quick diagram of the actual appeal process. I'm supposed to have handouts. I don't know where they're at. Oh, don't worry about it.
He's going to give you a copy of that when you come see him.
All right. So this is the process basically. Claim, decision, NOD, SOC, VA Form 9. excuse me, should not do that. SSOC, then it goes to the whole new jurisdiction of BBA. Then as you can see here, it goes into an eddy, literally. It goes back and forth and gets stuck there for a while. Constant review, new evidence, discussion, meetings before a filing gets pushed forward. Then notification gets sent to the veteran on where it's going to go. If you ever have the privilege to go here to the Supreme Court,
We did.
I mean the big Supreme Court, very rare. That is actually outside of BBA's jurisdiction. And that's actually where you hear things about the Niemer files. Things that actually changed, that have specific supporting documentation that show evidence that, yes, this is service connected. So, before we move forward, you guys have any questions? So, what was that?
That was about the tip.
All right, cool. So there's a tip. It's called a reconsideration. And, give that a second. So, if you don't want to go through your actual appeal,
Bill Smith.
what's that?
Bill Smith.
I actually got the answer for your stuff.
Okay.
Your question, which I'm about to present. Bill's one of my CVSOs. He asked a really good question that I was actually kind of surprised about the answer. So a reconsideration basically is I got my claim completed and it got sent to me. It's for tinnitus. Does everybody know what tinnitus is, just to make sure? You got the ringing in your ears?
Tonight is.
So-
Sorry, my ring
So-
is too loud.
I got denied for tinnitus, and I'm like, I used to do, work in the range, but it's not really noted on my Q14 or something. I get statement from my military buddies. I show photos that, hey, I was there quite a bit. Wore hearing gear, but it always wasn't enough. I'm able to produce substantive new and material evidence to support my claim that the VA does not have. Now, I write up a 21-526EZ tinnitus reconsideration. Supporting documentation, please review. What that does is that it has your decision reconsidered. So instead of going through the entire appeal process and waiting years and complaining, you can do the reconsideration, and it's going to pick up in 90 days to have it done. I had a reconsideration done in 24 hours, however, they denied it, but that's beside the point. But the point is, so the point is that you have an option other than the appeal, and you have up to 1 year from the time that your file has been, the notification letter has been sent. So once you send that, once you get it, go ahead and gather as much new and material evidence that you can and refile again for reconsideration. The process is a lot faster. Sometimes the VA missed something and you can get your claim granted. Yes, Bill?
After a year is up,
Yes,
it has to be a new claim, doesn't it?
claim.
Okay.
Once a year, thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so once you hit your 1 year date, your claim is now considered finalized and it's closed. In order for you to reopen it, you have to file a brand new 526EZ. Catch, it does not date back to the original date of claim.
That's it.
You're done. Do we have any questions? Oh yeah, we got handouts too. Wonderful. I'm done. All right, so what I have here for you guys is some forms for you guys, but I'm giving you a copy of the appeals at a glance. I'm also giving you the actual screenshot that we had up there. I've also provided you a list of the checkpoints that the claim actually has to go through in order to be granted or denied. On top of it, you're getting a really cool thing done by the VA. Yeah, I gave it here. Yeah. The one that Peter's handing out, it's an actual list of timeframes that you have to file for certain benefits, insurance, other areas that you might have questions about. It's actually a really great handout. So I'm done on my part. Yes, sir.
If my claim has been finalized and I lost, I can refile the same thing again as a new claim.
Yes, you can, but it won't go back to the date when you first
Yeah,
filed.
but I mean, there's nothing to stop you from trying it again.
No, you can try all you want,
Oh, okay.
but it's highly recommended to get new and material evidence. Because if you submit the exact same documentation for that exact same claim, they're not going to give it a second look. They're going to be like, claim was denied at this certain date, still the same results. New and material evidence. Create that stuff for you. Go in this class.
Checking up on you. What was that about the dash?
Were there any
and
extras on this
line?
side?
Yeah, I know.
So, we're out of conference.
Just at a glance, feels like everybody got one.
Unfortunately, my slide deck is not here. My house.
Did you get one of those yet?
I was hoping to see if this is still. But it's.
Did you get one of those yet?
Yes, sir.
Been called that in a long time.
So there, the first forms that were going out, we ran out, and so you'll need to go to the website to download that other form. Apologies, yeah. Pardon me? You gotta talk to the federal stuff.
Computer's trying to figure out
All these sirs. It's like a battlefield promotion. You guys get these yet? See this in the email.
Yeah, all this information is on the
Hi
website.
there. Again.
Bill did it.
So we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to talk in particular about that review process of the claim processing, okay? Because there's a couple things that we really need to reiterate in this. So if you're an active duty service member, you're leaving service, okay, you're getting out, you're done, decide to file a claim. What the VA is looking for is they're looking for diagnosis, okay? You're 24/7. Everything counts as long as you have a firm diagnosis. You're going to see on decision letters that come back saying, we don't understand the diagnosis, so we denied you. That's pretty much why. Okay? Now, when you start talking about guard and reserve, again, that's where everything is different. So we're going to kind of focus on the evidence needed for the active duty claims versus processing and evidence needed for guard and reserve. Okay? So if you don't know me, I'm embedded with the Guard. My office is open to all of the reserve components and veterans. About the only ones we don't provide services for is active duty. What they have on base is amazing. You don't need us. So our focus again is with the Guard and Reserve because that's where the challenges can happen. So again, your active duty, okay, even if it's 2 or 3 years after you've left service, what that rater is going to do is they're going to go look into your military file and said, did they ever complain about this? Okay, there has to be a link in the military service that proves it. excuse me, I can tell you the saddest day in my office, I had a 93-year-old World War II veteran come in. He was absolutely adorable. He said his only complaint in his nursing home is nobody will date him. He's too old. So, that's how I want to be when I hit 93. That's all I gotta say. So, but again, he was hurt back in the 40s. It had been 70 years since his injury. And everywhere we looked for any kind of evidence to prove his complaint, there is none. Not from World War II. There is nothing. Well, okay, the same thing occurs today within our service members. So one of the biggest challenges that we see across the board is that prior to everything becoming online digitally, members did carry their medical from mobilization to demob site to back to their home station. And in that process, it was very easy to lose paper. So a lot of things have improved now that we have gone to the electronic system for medical processing. So that is really going to help this. Okay? But the VA, again, you're doing an active duty service member's claim or somebody that was in the active duty complaint. There has to be something. Now again, the challenge with that is you're going to see in their military file back strain. Okay, that's a muscle issue. Okay, now they have 3 discs that are blown out in their back. Okay, again, when we were talking about finding the link between the two, now it comes to where we need the medical evidence that says what originally was considered a back strain, and again, somebody with initials behind their name, some kind of a doctor, chiropractor, somebody in that aspect has got to say that back strain was indeed the beginning of the disc issue. Now you've got a complaint in the military, and now you have a full diagnosis, and you'll have approval in that process. Yes?
So you go through that process, you have a reference in the military record, and then you have them go to a civilian doctor. The civilian doctor is a person who's qualified in that area, and the VA comes back and denies it and says that they were making an assumption.
I would question that because that's a bias in the VA record. So,
Thank you.
and you know, do we have any Seattle VA by chance? So can I incriminate myself? Okay, there's a lot of bias in the rating system. Okay, there's even, I've even seen bias in the comp and pen program at American Lake VA. So I did actually have a doctor tell one of my clients that TBIs are really not that big of a deal. Get off all of his medications and buy a cat. So that was his ridiculous things. So while I can tell you 95% of everybody that's in the regional office in Seattle VA is amazing, because I work directly with them. They're absolutely fabulous. You have those people, you have those raters that are very biased. Now, in fact, that's a good transition over to the